Hello. Welcome. We're going to have several guests today, so I'm going to wait till a few people jump on. Hello. I'll grab my water. Welcome. Today we're going to have an awesome conversation. Welcome. As you guys are hopping on, if you want to say hello, let me know where you're coming in from. I know for sure Talis and Thomas are joining us today, and Brayton. And we might be doing some rotating of guests because now we can do more than 2 people on lives. So I want to let you guys know if you have any, hey Thomas, any questions or any comments or anything that you want to contribute to the conversation today, just drop it in the comments. I'll stay on top of them. Hey, Teresa, gang. So we'll see who wants to hop on. I'll send requests. I don't know. There we go, Talis. Hey. Okay, I just sent requests out for Talis and Thomas. We'll see. Hello.
Hi there.
Yay! Oh, that's awesome. That's so great. I like it.
Right.
Let's see how many people are working today, like having a four people discussing at the same time. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I just sent Talis the request.
Yeah.
Teresa's on, but I don't know if she's going to join.
Let's see.
All right. Teresa, if you want to, oh, there we go. Hello.
Ah, yes.
Brayton will probably hop on here. There he is. There's Brayton.
Dan. The whole crew uniting.
Yeah.
Flush.
Awesome.
Hey. All right.
Okay, so we have some rotation. You will take the lead, right?
You're getting
Randy,
a little,
you will.
it's getting a little, it's a little, I can hear you, but it's a little fuzzy, Thomas.
Okay.
All right. So before you guys hopped on, I told everybody that if they want to contribute to the conversation at all, to just drop whatever they want to add in the comments, and I'll keep an eye on the comments. Welcome, everybody.
That's great. So it gets bundled, right? Like our followers get notified that
Yep.
we are on, and they will. Yeah, let's see how many people will join us today.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very nice. So let's get to the nitty-gritty parts, right?
Yeah.
All of it's nitty gritty.
So, who wants to start?
Go ahead, Thomas.
Okay. So this quite some people joined together when it came up to discuss the development of the human design community here on Instagram. When it's about what really is like human design and what is actually more mind candy and can distract you from being correct and aligned with yourself. So this is something that we discuss, and we are open to your feedback and your question on that, so that we can go into this. It's a lot about language. It's a lot about strategy and authority. And because there are several newcomers out there who just got a little taste of human design and just try it out, everything, and find a lot of information here on Instagram. But it's really necessary to be clear on some aspects of what is human design so that you don't confuse it and maybe go above where you get misled in some way. And it's kind of a responsibility also, I'd say. No? I mean, you can sell everything, but in the end, it comes back to what is correct for you. No? And that was my start.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you with the responsibility piece of it. It's so important for people to live in their own design and understand the language, like the importance of the language and the mechanics. What kind of gets me would be somebody who would say it's not working or give up or something because they're trying to follow a set of rules, maybe that we see a lot of times. And I notice a lot of the content in like more of the pop HD, it feels like rules versus your own experience. And I mean, above all, Ra says like none of it really matters, but it doesn't really matter. None of it matters, but the language and the mechanics are there for a reason, and really honoring that.
I think, everybody knows my stance on these things. Most people do. I mean, something that's important for people to understand, if they don't already, is that the keynotes and the language was not, Ra didn't come up with that keynoting. He didn't come up with that language. That language and that keynoting was given to us to use. This is a common misconception. Ra never even read the I Ching. He never read it. He had a German copy, and he used it as a framework for the system. Nothing about this system is human, other than the framework. This is the common misconception. So people think they can just change things. They think they can just reframe things, right? I always hear, let's reframe this. How about let's not? How about let's live our design? Let's accept it for what it is so that we can actually benefit from it, right? If you don't like something and you want to just change it, well, there goes the system. Boom, it's gone. Now, there's a common misconception in the I'll be kind and say unorthodox human design world. I'll be kind. That things are finite, things are fixed in human design. Not the case. Not the case. I could pull up dozens and dozens and dozens of keynotes from classmates of mine, all different language, all different wording used in synthesis. No two synthesis is the same. So in the orthodox, I'll call it the orthodox, the real actual human design world, uniqueness is, I mean, that's the foundation, that's the cornerstone of everything. So we really need to first off take a look at these narratives, right? Why the pop HD narrative exists. Okay, why does it actually exist? Because it doesn't exist to serve people, right? It exists for another reason. If it existed to serve people, then, well, we wouldn't have so many people that are confused, right? If it truly was useful, and if it truly was able to be implemented. But all you have to do is go and buy the Black Book, which is the first human design publication. You can read the Black Book and it'll tell you right there that the language did not come from humans. So the moment that you change it, you turn it into a human system that was given to a nine-centered being. You destroy the whole purpose right there. So this is where the wolves and the sheep, this is where we separate. This is where the line is. Can you accept the language? Can you learn the language just like you learn anything else? Can you do that, or would you choose not to? Because this isn't a matter of it's not a matter of ability, right? Every human has the ability to do this. It's a matter of choice, just like everything else in human design. I'll leave it at that for now.
Also, a big part is the people, they only read one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not enough if you really want to understand what Ra, like this is the original source, this is where I have my information from, this is what I use as a base, as a foundation. And of course, I can read other perspectives and they can use different words for it. That's okay to share their experience. But I still need to go back to this foundation that I have about, I don't know, about a gate, about how the channel works, about all of this very unique, specific formulas. It's like physics, you know. You cannot just change the little formulas or the numbers or the letters for, I don't know. You cannot do that because then you end up with a lot of with a mess. You don't have anything you
Mm-hmm.
can work with. And this whole thing is a science, but it's not the science that we think science is, because what we see as science is a collective washed down thing that we say, yeah, it must be true because somebody said it is, so we believe it, and it better is true because we believe it. But that's not actually how science works. You know, science is an evolving, never-ending process of figuring out the details. Always, it never stops. And what human design gave us is a framework. It's a first line. It's a foundation. Yeah. And I can totally understand that people come and take this out and make something new out of it. I mean, yeah, we are all creative. We want to create. We want to show off. We want to be, hey, I have this idea. But it's unnecessary. That's the thing. And I would say that if the people who do this pop HD stuff with a lot of followers, that's the main reason why it really is something that desires me to speak about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a kind of responsibility. If you're a person you're like with, I don't know, 15,000 followers, you cannot just talk anything. I mean, you can do that, but you have a kind of responsibility. I mean, imagine all of these people who just will, just take this, don't investigate for themselves, and then they use it for their children or whatever. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this doesn't work. We will not have a better world
Mm-hmm.
with this method, obviously. So what I was trying to say with all of that is, when you listen to a lot of stuff that Ra says, you will kind of get his metaphors and his connections, his linkings between all of that words. And then finally it snaps and, okay, this is what he meant with that. And when you listen closely, he will always, even if he, for example, says, yeah, generating a project, that's a mess. I mean, this is humor. That's humor. But at the end, he will always say, this is not true, actually. This is just, he needs to tease people so they wake up from their sleep.
Yes.
So they wake up from their, dream world of, but it would be so nice. And you need some kind of shock. I'm coming from a shamanic path. Without shock, you cannot do anything. I mean, it needs a kind of shock. How the shock is, it's a different, that can be unique. You can shock somebody by giving them a lot of love. You can shock somebody by, playing the ignoring shaman who doesn't speak with you. There's a lot of ways. But it needs this kind of boundary to lead you to your alignment. That's very simple. I mean, this is actually how we condition our kids. By that, not in the best way, of course, but human design could help us to do it in the correct way. So yeah, that's my statement right now.
Word. Thanks.
Yeah, the potency. I love that you brought up when Ra's speaking about things, and I think everyone in their design should listen to him when they can. There's lots of resources out there for people. It is accessible. There's a lot of his lectures have been transcribed. You can get them in various ways, and just listening to that from the original source. If I invite people, if they are dabbling in pop HD or they're drawn to the lighter, the fluffier content, to go just peek at the source material, listen to a lecture from Rob, because you'll only understand that from your own experience. Like, we can talk to you about how it's impacted us and our experience, but to really understand what it is for you is to go out and, if that's correct for you to do, to feel it yourself, because it's a different frequency, even when he's speaking about the things and his twisted humor and all of that, and you really understand. I was listening to a lecture, I've been listening to one over the past couple of days, and it's just like, oh wow, just kind of layer by layer, I understand more and more and more and more, and it makes it feel that limitless, it makes it feel expansive. We're not boxed in, and that's why I think the original language is so important in that keynoting.
There's even one little thing where you can really see if the original language has something. Let's put it like this. I'm a 1-3. I experiment. That's what I do all day long. So what I tried, I sit down with people, and they were like, oh, human design, this and that. I was like, yeah, we can talk a bit about that. It wasn't a reading or something. I don't do readings. I do guidings. Yeah. So we were just sitting there, and we had a beer, and we talked a bit. And I was trying, okay, what if I just use different words describing what I see in the chart? And what if I just use the keynotes? Keynotes means you use the words that are there, what you can see in the chart, and, just put them together in a sentence. And the impact when I use keynotes was always on point, totally like, like, wow, how did you know that? You cannot know that. Nobody knows that. And when I just, try to do something out of it with my own interpretations, and it was like, sometimes, it's not sharp. So this words that Ra choose, he didn't, but they have a frequency. And we are all, this is a very deep stuff right now, but if you look into the tonal level, you will see there are just 6 tones, but actually there is a 7th one, and that's acoustics. We are all acoustics. Everything is frequency. Even Tesla said that, if you want to put them in. All of these great masters of whatever they master in this world said everything is frequency.
Exactly.
That's a kind of principle.
Exactly.
So what we can do with this little center here is amazing. We form something from it. It's manifesting, You take a word that you kind of make up, and you will have an effect. And if you use the setup from human design, you don't need to think. You don't need to think. You don't need to worry. You don't need to interpret. You don't need nothing. You just let it flow. Because it will be in you. Because those words, even, I'm doing the most stuff in German, but still, it has the same effect. Because those words, they have I can go on and on and on, because I know a lot of frequency scientists who dived into this like so deeply, and they created softwares how to read that and blah 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 blah. But yeah, it's the wording. It's about the wording. So keynoting, or to really use the language of human design in a correct way, is an art. It's not just sit down and just this is okay, and just blah, 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 blah. No, it's an art, and it needs so much empathy. This is a human being in front of you when you use human design. This is not just an object. It's just not just you will maybe have luck and sometimes not. This is not a cold reading. It's not. And sometimes that's stressing me. When I see this pop HD, because it feels like so. And that's pop culture. Everything that's pop culture is washed down, making money stuff. Look at the music nowadays. Everything sounds the same.
True.
Well,
and
yeah.
So,
It's like what it feels like is here's a very like real life experience. Like, we've all had like watermelon candy, and we're like, oh yeah, watermelon candy, that tastes good. And then it's like we're sitting here trying to explain what a real watermelon tastes like. You can't, you can't, like, watermelon candy tastes nothing like a watermelon. But we all have this idea, like the mind candy, like it tastes good. Oh, that watermelon.
Good old mind candy.
And we're just like, no, like if you could just taste a real watermelon and have your own experience with what a real watermelon tastes like, to then decide if you still want to call watermelon candy. If it's still called watermelon to you. Like, simple.
To come back to one of this main aspects of what one can call human design, like mind candy or Bob HD, is when people say that someone can use human design to reach something, to get something, to get more success, to be have a better business and all that. And that's not what Ra originally was talking about. It's not at all about getting something out of it and using it to something, to reach something. Or
that time is over.
It's about being correct, being unique, and it doesn't mean that you get more success or having more money, or more happier or all that. That's actually what can distract you from being correct. When you look for this ideal state, there's this I don't know, these things that you would like to be, or you compare yourself with someone else. That makes you actually, that would condition you, that would homogenize you, being as like someone else who has a lot of money. But it's not about having a lot of money to be successful. Success can manifest in different ways when you're talking about the protector signature. So.
Well, it's just like beginning without intent. Ra talks about that too.
There has to be a correct. I think this is the thing that has to be understood. Is not everybody is infinitely unique. Everybody's infinitely different. None of us are like, not really. We have an illusion of a likeness, right? Illusion that our profiles are like, that our types are like. We're all so very, very, very different, right? But the path to us having even more uniqueness, this is the duality, is by using the correct language, by sticking to the blueprint that was given to us, right? Just like we stick to the blueprint of our design, right? I'm not the whole chart. The whole chart. And yeah, I am my type. Absolutely, I am my type. That's my neutrino imprinting. I am my type. I am my chart. That's what I am. I'm all right. To say that I'm not, I think that's a little bit short-sighted and uneducated. I'll say it's uneducated. You are your definition. We are our definition. We live out our definition. Yes, we have the program that's defining us. We'll all have the same channel for X amount of days or a month or so on and so forth, but we are our definition. We're here to live it out. If you want to live out your uniqueness, you can't be the whole chart. You can't have this expansive, what do they call it? They say the expansive aura. You can expand your aura, right? That's like everybody else. You can't have that. Why? Because you are your definition. Your defined centers, okay? This is your nature. Open centers, this is your nurture. This is what you're here to learn. Very, very simple principles. But these are principles that we have to, even the simple principles we have to go over through in analyst school over and over again. And then I have to go on live and I have to drill it into everybody again, constantly, right? Very simple. Nature, nurture. What are you here to learn, right? I have a completely open heart, completely open ajna, right? That's what I provide outer authority on. I'm different. Brandy has a defined heart. Right? Different. But do we have to use the same language in the system for the frequency to be correct? Absolutely. Because our design doesn't change the system.
True.
Right? The system is here to encompass all design. And not just the design of humans. This is just part of the knowledge. This is design of forms. We have design of plants, mammals, earth. We have design of inanimate objects. This is far beyond just human design. Human design is just the part that was synthesized because it was most beneficial to us, right? So this is, and I see questions of how to identify pop HD. Well, first off, they're going to be trying to sell you something. And that's not to say that I'm not going to want to sell you something, that I'm not going to want you to join one of my classes, that I'm not going to want you to book a session with me. No, the difference is that I have a need motivation for you to be on your line of geometry, on your path, on a line, right? Correct, right? An analyst, a human design professional isn't here to sell you something, because we don't have something to give you. We have something to show you, a message to deliver. That's all we are, as messengers. That's it. We're nothing more, just messengers. And that's the easy way to identify. Are they trying to sell you something? Right? They're constantly trying to sell you something, trying to offer you something, or are they trying to deliver a message? Now, it's one thing if it's on somebody's website and they have things that they sell, right? Or things that they're offering. But it's pretty easy to tell who's trying to deliver a message to you, who's openly, delivering a message of the system, and who's trying to sell you something for their own gain. I'm a projector, I can see, so maybe that's why it's easy for me to tell, easy for me to see. But I think anybody that is looking at things objectively without prejudice, and I can ask themselves, does this person have my best interest in mind? Is this actually going to benefit me, or do I think that it's going to benefit me because they're making a promise? This is the other thing, the promise. There will never be promises. Promises of results? No, right. Not in human design. Not in human design.
The results is where it gets easily tied into back to what we're talking about, Thomas, with the manifestation. Live this amazing life. It's all easy. It's all, you can get externally whatever you want, and that is infuriating to me, honestly.
True.
Because it's not even about that. Like,
it's the not self, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what Ra actually told us in the money course. It was just, it was a joke. It was a joke. Some people didn't get it as a joke.
And then they sold it. And then they sold it on Instagram.
Yes. Exactly. It's the not self. You can utilize the not self, to get money, but you're not correct after that. No. I mean, it just creates karma.
And with that too, like if we're all just searching for this effort, like completely, like no pain in life, like how are we going to feel real pleasure? Like there's so much to it, but that, like, especially picking, here's the thing that I specifically want to touch on about pop human design is when they talk about the variables and somebody made up what kind of manifestor you are based on what arrow points left or right. And it's like, there's this whole thing that they'll look, just like people will look up their body graphs from TikTok or whatever and just look at that one arrow and they'll be like, I am this kind of manifestor. And I'm like, they're like, yeah, I know human design. I know how to manifest based on human design. And I'm like, the word manifest.
Then it's are you the 9% of the population that actually has the ability to do that? Because if you are, you probably have it really, really, really bad, and it's a really difficult job. It's not fun. Not fun at all. No. Difficult to be manifested.
Somebody said it in the comments earlier. It's cherry picking. People in pop HD, it's very easy to cherry pick your design and be like, oh, I'm this. It's
the sidereal approach.
Labeling.
Oh yeah.
Sidereal.
Start with this one.
Why do we have to label everything? Why does it have to be a identity? You're just layering yourself into identity after identity after. It's like a non-stop tunnel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something related to that. Brayton, you said, I am my design. I know how you meant it, but maybe just to differentiate it a bit. When you look at your chart, you are not this chart. This chart only shows your differentiation, how you are different from the world.
Yes.
It's not like that you look, I am the, 17, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
29, I don't know. No, you're not
Mm-hmm.
this. This is something that differentiates you from everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at it and you read about it, you will read about not self only. You won't find any true self statements. No.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can kind of get a flavor of it. You know? Yeah, you can have that. But it's not about, this is not a, okay, the thing is, we people are so used to this personality tools because 99% is based on this personality developing blah, blah, blah
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. I mean, that's nice. It's okay. You can use that. You can, masturbate with your mind all day. That's okay. You can do that. But you won't go anywhere with it. You won't, because even if you use it, when you use it, you just use it to tell it other people so they use it again. So it's like a collective spiral of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
You won't find yourself with it. Never.
No.
You won't. Right? And I really investigated a lot of stuff before human design.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm always curious, what is this? What is this? How does it work? And I'm not saying human design is better or something. No, human design is, I mean, this is hell. Don't do it. I mean, if you're not ready, don't do it.
No.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
No, don't
think,
really.
It's Talis to touch on that when we have to live out our type, right? We have to live out our profile. So I guess to expand on that, when we're talking about identity, if we're getting into deep, I can't even call this deep human design, because this is like first foundation course, right? This is like basic, right? Design crystal, personality crystal, right? So yeah, my form, the imprinting on my form, right? The cognitive architecture that I have right now. This is not ultimately me, right? My personality crystal before I came in, right? But what we're here to live out is our profile, our type, our cognitive architecture. This doesn't have to define us in the sense of this is finite, this is what we are. It defines us in the sense of this is what we're here to experience. This is the consciousness that we're here to experience, right? Right now, I'm all right. Okay, I'm all right. All right. Fourth tone. That's what I'm here to experience. Yeah. It could be different at a different time. It could have. I'm a second base, so probably was something different at a different time. Very likely because I'm a second base, right? But in this consciousness program, in this area that we're at right now, at this time in the Maya, whatever our profile is, that's our costume. We're here to live that out. We're here to live out our type. It doesn't need to be complex. It doesn't need to be complicated. Human design is very, very simple. It's designed for children. It's here for children. It's very, very simple, right? And we'll only go as deep as is necessary. I'll only manage people to go as deep as is necessary, right? There are people that are very, very deep into human design as a hobby, because they're enthusiasts. There are people that are not deep into human design that live their design very, 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 very well with just the most base foundational knowledge. Nothing intense at all. And they live their design excellently, right? Excellently.
You do not need to study it to live it.
You don't, unless you're a projector. If you're a projector, you have to study it to live it. There's not another way. But everybody else, you don't. But if you're a projector, you have to. That's just.
And if you're a projector watching, Jovian has a projector endowment just for you.
Yeah, they do. Yep, Jovian does have a projector endowment, 20% off, for a reason, because you have to. It's kind of part of it. That's welcome to a projector.
Oh gosh.
Today I played Super Mario with my brother, and I was like, shit, this is really like what human design does with you, Before human design, you always look at the start screen and think like, this is the game, this is life, looking what it is doing, and you just, oh wow, it's so nice, and the colors and it's always the same, and you try to find patterns. Spirituality, you try to find patterns. Why it moves like this and that, and you see numbers, and oh, this means angel number whatever, and blah blah blah. And then human design goes like, you gotta push the start button, you know? What, really? Really? I'm sitting here for 10 years now, and you said I need to just, you know, yeah, and then you do this and this and this, and you can do this, but you're limited, you know, you're limited, you cannot fly, you can jump, you can go left and right, you know, you can pause sometimes, you know, you can have a break. Really? You know, this is what it does with you. And you're in, you cannot go back. You can never go back to this stupid start screen. You
can never go back.
And
Never go back.
Pop HD doesn't tell you the secret of push the button, you know. It says, yeah, there's might be this, and you could look at this little Cooper there, and you can look at this little thing, and you know,
they hold a
it doesn't
blanket
tell
over
you
the start screen.
exactly.
They hold a blanket over it.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, it's like in Pop HD, you can choose your own character too, just like Sidereal. You can choose.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I don't want to be the pink princess. Or whatever.
Sidereal,
I want to be the mushroom.
I'm gonna hit the drop down and be a reflector.
Yeah.
Where's the reflector drop down? No. I did that one for Amanda. I hope she.
This is coming up a lot of times with this. Yeah, but my body side is a reflector. No, because you only have your design because both together makes what it is to be you.
Yeah.
You cannot look at this or that or no. This is just for our mind to, you know, it's a little playful thing to see. It's easier to understand all this shit.
It's just for us to see. This is the imprinting before birth. This is the imprinting at birth. That's all it is. The red, this is the imprinting before birth. This is when your magnetic monopolar design crystal were in your form. And then personality, that's when you were born. That's when your personality crystal came in. That's to show that there's a binary consciousness, that the body has its own consciousness, and that we also have our mind has its own consciousness. It's just to show that it's not the same, that it's not all one thing, right? Like in astrology, you just have your birth chart, right? You're just your natal chart, what happens when you were born. But in human design, we need to show what happened, right, at 88 degrees of the sun. That's all. It's not. We have
all about the form in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it takes so much courage to actually start living the experiment. I mean, this is something that most people like to skip. Yeah? Just get to the nice part and then all this beauty on that. But really to start and yeah, like a generator, really listen to your gut, really listen to your sacral. I mean, this is something that can be quite uncomfortable sometimes. It can be quite messy, yes. It can hurt. It can confront all your friends, and it can create quite a mess. But in the end, it will sort things out, and it will align you to your true self. And that's it. I mean, you can be your true self. No, you can be the person that you actually are intended to be, and that you already were when you were born, by the way, like as you have been as a child, and then you got conditioned, and then you forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
So right.
And we can talk about too how in pop human design, it almost bypasses the mechanics of strategy and authority.
But it throws everything out the window. It throws out cognition.
So you can't, strategy and authority, like number one thing to even do anything, to live in your design with awareness, you just need strategy and authority. Like you don't even need to know everything about your chart. It will naturally play out. Passenger consciousness, you'll just chill in the vehicle on the Autobahn.
Mm-hmm.
Strategy and authority. Strategy and authority.
Mm-hmm.
No one, hardly ever is it ever talked about. It's always like, oh, if you're you might be a generator if you like flowers and they light you up. And they'd be like, I'm a generator, nobody's talking about.
Well, it's a lot harder to sell something, a lot harder for them to sell things when it's just strategy and authority, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot. They got to add in a lot of candy, right? Got to get the sweet tooth. Got to really add stuff in. You know what I mean? So,
it would just take half an hour, and then I have everything I need. So why should I pay you anymore?
Exactly. Yeah. It's not that's the large difference in approach, right? That's I like that Talis says I guide, I don't do reading, because for me I don't do readings either. That's not what I do. You know, there's a level of depth that's associated with actually guiding somebody, right? Or providing a body graph analysis. There's a level of depth there that is beyond you're a generator, so you must like flowers, right? There's a level of depth that's there that can't be advertised. There's a level of depth there that can't be marketed, right? Because it's so differentiated. Because what, you know, if I have a body graph in front of me, right? I'm synthesizing the body graph. It's different for everybody that's in my software. It's different. Every single person is different. Everything is different. There's no one size fits all, and that's another red flag. Something to keep in mind if you see things is it's the one size fits all. That doesn't work in human design. It's not compatible, with one size fits all. I mean, I don't even give a class without pulling up everybody's body graphs,
Right.
and integrating the entire class, right, with each body graph, because everything is different, right? Everybody is so different. So there's I think that a really good way for people to see, aside from, their own personal ways of discernment, is how different is it, right? How much is this account or these people, how much are they focused on your differentiation? Are they just focused on your type? Are they just what are they actually looking to do for you, right? Are they looking to just read a body graph? Because if they're looking to just read your body graph, well, I think it's $39, Jovian Archive, mybodygraph.com. You can have Raw read out your whole body graph for $39. I mean, it's just we really need to, people are on a line of geometry to, and it's different for everybody. For sacral beings, it's who am I? That's the existential question. Projections, who is the other? We all have our own existential questions, right? We all have our own things that we are that we're asking ourselves. It's important to recognize that the human design professional, their only real goal is to deliver the message, to get you on your line of geometry, to assist you, And this doesn't mean that it's only going to be a one-time thing, right? You might see the same analyst, you might see the same professional, multiple times. It doesn't mean it's always going to be a one-time thing. But the human design professional is not going to try and peddle you things. It's just not, and I'm an inner vision person, so I can look at something, close my eyes, frame all the information. I can see all the bullshit with my eyes closed as soon as I close my eyes. So maybe I'm being a little bit, maybe it's unfair for me to talk like this, but it's, there's a difference and it can be seen. It can be seen if you objectively look. If you objectively look and say, who has my best interest in mind? What are they actually doing? And that's ultimately me need motivation. That's what's important to me is that people are working with people that actually give a fuck about their lives. Because the second that somebody is giving a reading, or the second somebody's giving a reading and they don't actually give a fuck about that person's life, you might as well just hand somebody a scalpel and tell them to do surgery. Like, what the fuck, man? It's really fucking with people's lives. Like to not know this, have this knowledge, and to proclaim that you do, and to provide a service to somebody without doing it correctly. I mean, it really fucks with people. It's not okay. And so for me, that what I see as necessity is just that people are working with people that actually give a fuck about their lives, right? I think that's one of the most important things, is that the people that you go to, the people that you work with, are people that actually care, right? There's actually an exchange. They're actually delivering a message.
True. So true. It's a lot about respect. Yeah. So I will make place for Teresa.
Oh, Teresa, hop on. All right. Let's bring Teresa on. I know she's probably got stuff to say.
No, yeah, her channel of emoting right now.
And
She's
she was
listening to mine.
commenting a lot, and she was like reading
Yeah.
questions.
And so speaking of motivations, you talked about yours, Brayton, and Talis, your desire motivation, yeah?
Yeah, Talis' desire.
Desire, I'm hope motivation. So I literally just hope that people don't, that they find what's correct for them. And that's all I can do is hope. And when I'm in transferred motivation, I can. It just doesn't feel. I mean, I can see it now. I can see
Yeah.
it.
Fix you.
Yeah.
No, like, no, I just hope. Welcome, Teresa.
Hey, everybody. Get comfortable. I've been like baking brownies all day and shit.
Motivation is something else that
Kid
probably
shit.
makes it a little bit confusing.
Yeah,
Because it's actually not motivation. It's not motivation. Motivation doesn't say what is your motivation. It's funny, but
Yeah.
it's your cognition.
It's the
it's
language.
not about motivation.
It's the language. Yeah, it's the language.
Yeah.
Motivation is it's it's actually just the frequency that's left. The neutrino hits your personality crystal. It's just a frequency that's left. Motivation.
It's actually what drives your mind. What drives your mind? Which specific flavor drives your mind, so that you, when you're aligned, have no mind fucks. That you're in the right place with the right people at the right time. We'll say the right thing. We'll do the right thing. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, and it's not literal. I mean, so much is not literal. Just like everything, right? We had to take a 7-centered language and adapt it to a 9-centered system. So it's not very, very, very little in human design is literal in English terms. I would say all of it is we've had to create our own definitions. Right?
Well, and that just circles back to why the language is so important. Why everybody, by having a foundational, or in the human design community, if you're doing readings or sessions or guiding people, that you have this awareness around the language, so that when you're speaking to your clients or when you're creating content, that's all.
That it's all correct.
It's all over.
And it comes down to preparation. If you're not preparing, if you're not taking in, right, the source material, if you're not taking in, I mean, and this is as simple as taking in the black book and the white book. These can both be found free as PDFs. It's foundational human design knowledge. If you're taking those in, you'll have the language. Well, language is there if you're actually taking that in. But the language is so critical, and of course there's other aspects, but the different parts in the knowledge find you at different times. It doesn't all just find you at once. If it's going to find you at a specific time, at the time that you can actually comprehend it. We live in an illusion, literally. There's dark matter everywhere. Can you see it? No, you can't see it. The only way to see through the illusion, the only way to get to certain parts of the knowledge, is literally by being correct enough that you can see it, that you can understand that. Literally, there's just not a way. I could give 50 gigs of digital human design resources to somebody and tell them to fucking have their day for a month. And you know what they would bring back? Maybe strategy and authority. Because you have to live it for it to integrate. Literally, that's the way it's set up. It's kind of one of those things. It's like, I don't know. You gotta learn how to read to know how to read. Like, fuck, man.
Right. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. You need to know how to write the letters before you can write a sentence. You need to know how to write them properly, and then you can. Through your own experience, you're like, well, this is how I draw an R, and it's a little bit different, but like it still looks like an R that we can all recognize, instead of just like a symbol that's like, this is how I write an R, and everyone's like. So Teresa, what do you want to respond to on what we've been talking about?
Well, I'm really passionate about this because I was totally steeped in the pop HD world for like my first 2 years of learning design. And it wasn't until I woke up and actually started taking in the source information and learning from teachers that have their own synthesis that my life actually really started to shift. And then it was this whole thing where I'm like, oh my God, I've been living in this like fairy tale for the last 2 years and actually getting further and further into not self with the pop human design shit. And it's like the real shattering actually happened for me in 2020. And I'm like, oh, I can see why people have to sugarcoat and candy coat all of this to sell it, because it fucking sucks at first. Like, I mean, maybe not for everybody, but for me it did. It was like, I actually started to understand myself and how I operate, and that I need to cut out half the people in my life and quit doing half the shit I'm doing. And it was really intense. But at the same time, now I've met these people that are incredible, and I have an awesome support system, and it's aligned me with the correct people and the correct opportunities and everything. And like being a 2-4, I know that I have a ton of impact. I know that I'm like a missionary. So I want to be giving the correct information to people.
Missionary profile.
Yeah. What did Ross say about fourth lines? Like, if they want to learn about human design, teach them human design. I think he said something about that with fourth lines, like the original human design, because we will.
Yeah. It's the externalization. One thing is funny. I don't remember. It might have been in one of the Channels by Type books or manuals. I remember Ross said it's a good thing that something effective is a good thing I was a 5-1, because if I was a 2-4, I would have bulldozed everybody with zealotry. Because as soon as the second line comes out and we can externalize, we're just full steam ahead. Nothing's stopping us. You want to deter us? Get the fuck out of our way. We're going. But it's funny because he's like, it's a good thing that I'm a heretic and not a 2-4, because it would have been too intense. I think there's something there.
Yeah.
Well, and with like 2027 coming in hot, you know, I mean, we're all, anybody who studies design is starting to see that. Yeah, I mean, we've got work to do, Braden. We've got missionary work to do.
I'm fucking doing it.
I'm just bringing the foundation. I don't have a message.
I love it.
So Teresa, with your experience of having those couple years in because you were like enveloped in it, you were doing readings. What were you noticing with your clients? What's the difference that you noticed between your sessions pre your experience, like to your shattering, and post?
I mean, I would just say the potency of it is completely different. Before, it just kind of felt like I was regurgitating things that I was reading, and the teacher that I learned from encouraged us to like go charge this much and go do readings like right away, and that's how we're going to learn. So that was just like normal in that world. There wasn't really like integrity that was instilled in us, and I really didn't know anything about IHDS or like the other side of it. Was almost like there was two sides, because in the pop HD world, they kind of badmouthed the other side. And so you thought that IHDS was, you know, really terrible and you shouldn't get involved with them. And it's like old school, and human design has evolved so much, and they're just teaching the old school way and all this stuff. And so it really made me feel like, oh, I probably won't be accepted if I go to IHDS, or maybe it's too expensive, or da-da-da. And I was just naive. So, you know, now having the original language and having my own lived experience and actually taking like the real classes. I mean, not that the classes aren't real, but you know what I'm saying. I would say sometimes I would do reading. They are real classes. I'm trying to be fluffy. Sometimes I would do readings and it like something would just blatantly not resonate with somebody, and I wouldn't have any other way to like explain it, because I hadn't synthesized it, you know. I hadn't actually like met somebody that had that or experienced that energy in a transit. Now my readings are purely my own experiences and those of the people around me. It's not just me regurgitating from a book, or not even a book. It was just like a weekend lecture that basically taught you the entire system in 2 days, which is impossible. It's like, now that I actually know the real deal, it's like
Try
infuriating
20
to me.
years.
Yeah, right.
Literally.
Right.
Oh, we lost you for a second. Or come back. So I wonder if you can still hear us, Teresa, because you're there. You go. It's
There they go.
What did you notice
Cool.
the difference between like what the language around like the keynoting, the gates, channels, all of that stuff, and like how you can kind of, you can see the differentiation about somebody? Were you able to do that with what you were learning in Pop HD, or was it just like bullet points?
No, it was just like, oh, this is kind of what this gate is like. This is kind of what this channel is like. And, nothing really about the lines and how that differentiates it. And we were taught to intuitively feel into the chart pretty much. And like,
I love that word. Intuitively.
I mean, that word is great for certain situations, right? But it's not when you're delivering this information. Like, I just intuitively, and I'm aware that the teacher that I learned from was a 2. I'm also a 2, but it's like sometimes we are just good at understanding and giving information, and you can't like teach people to do what you do, right? But there was none of that, like, well, I am this, and that's why I can do this. Yeah, it's really frustrating. As you can tell, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Amy Ruth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pause here for a second and be like, like having your spirit guides guide you to a place on the chart to read about.
Hold on, let me call my ancestors real quick. I'll be right back. Okay,
And
so anyways.
all of those things, I come from a very like shamanic kind of like Talis background where those things, had a very big presence in my life, and it's not disregarding those, but that's not the human design system.
Yeah, same.
That's what it is, like if my great grandma wants me to tell you about this variable, I'm not going to listen to her. I'm going to listen to I don't know.
It's just, and there's no, there's never even, when you get deep into the knowledge, it becomes, if you want to, you can get deep into the parts that are mystic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, then I don't want my preference to interfere.
But it's, exactly. It is mystical knowledge, but it's also very logical and empirical, right? There's multiple sides, there's multiple parts. I'm in both of them, but I'm not going to, me being a mystic is not what's going to benefit somebody's life in a session with me. Yep. I'm a mystic. I'm a real mystic. I am. 2/3 of my life, I'm a real mystic. But in a session, that's not what's going to benefit somebody. Right? It's actual analytical knowledge. Analytical knowledge. And
cut us off.
Is it going to cut us off?
Well, in about 1 minute and 45 seconds.
1 minute.
Okay.
Oh, man. Okay.
Well, we could roll all day.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Is there anything you'd like to close with, Talis?
Mr. Outer Authority.
Mr. Outer Authority. I would say, when there is a promise, don't follow it. The only promise you have is that you will die someday. So if you can be correct, be correct. And if you can't be correct, don't worry. Someday you will be correct. Don't force it. Don't push yourself. It's not about pushing. It's not about being in stress. It's not about being better or, I need to learn quicker or whatever. No, it's not about that. Human design is there to be a foundation for your life when you're ready to receive it. And if you're not ready yet, that's okay. That's totally okay. You can study it and you can learn all this stuff. And one day, maybe it will have this moment when you say, now I'm ready to live it. And that's going to be the moment you push the button to play the game. And before that, there's nothing to worry for.
Awesome. All right. We got 28 seconds. Thank you guys for hopping on today. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Quite a few of you hung out for the whole hour. So thank you all.
Thanks for tuning in,
Thanks.
everybody.
Bye, guys.